Peace, everyone. Welcome to the One Podcast. I am David Medina, and I've done two episodes of this kind of content. And today I am wanted to talk about emotional intelligence. I wrote a book about emotional intelligence. It's called The Emotional Intelligence Advantage. And I know that book is specifically for men, but if you are a human who is living and breathing, then it is certainly important to understand your own emotional intelligence. Now, I specifically wrote this book to grab the attention of men because I feel this kind of work is incredibly necessary in order for things in this world to balance out. And the emotional intelligence is about recognizing, allowing, and handling emotions with responsibility. So it doesn't mean you're repressing anything. It doesn't mean we don't feel or we don't express anger or express joy or express sadness. If we are human, then the expression of all emotions is absolutely necessary for our well being. The idea of emotional intelligence is about how do we recognize when emotions are happening and how do we manage them in a way that allows for us to feel them and express them responsibly. That's the key word, responsibility. It also doesn't mean you're going to be perfect about this either. Like just because you are intelligent about your emotions doesn't mean you will always handle things responsibly. I mean, I certainly don't in every situation. However, I do have tools that allow for that to happen less and less. And it also allows for me to be in communication about my emotions. And even if I do explode or something comes out sideways, I also have the ability to come back to it and communicate to the other person or whatever the situation is and clean it up. So, emotional intelligence or having a grasp on your emotional intelligence allows for grace, and it allows grace for the situation, for the other person, and for you. And one of the key components of emotional intelligence is self awareness. You know, as we grow up into adulthood, we develop a certain level of understanding about our emotions and behaviors and how they impact those around us. And this understanding, known as self awareness, involves recognizing our feelings and behaviors. Let's take an example. Say you're angry at someone. It's important to note that self awareness is not about controlling the anger toward that person. Instead, self regulation is responsible for that. Self awareness deals with recognizing our anger, understanding why we feel that way, and considering the consequences that expressing those emotions may have on ourselves and on others. So that's a key component. Self awareness is, you're recognizing the emotion, you're understanding why you feel that way. For example, if you have a boss or a supervisor that you're angry at, your self awareness will recognize your anger coming up. You'll understand why you're feeling that way. And then you start to consider the consequences of expressing that anger towards your boss or supervisor, right? So obviously the consequences can be you get fired. Another consequence of that is that you can't feed your family, etc., etc. So self-awareness is incredibly important, and the acknowledgement of your emotions is a significant milestone in and of itself. So when we fail to acknowledge our various emotions, we run the risk of repressing them, which can lead to feelings of resentment, depression, blame, and so much more. Or it can lead to the expression of them in a way that's completely and utterly irresponsible and has consequences. So, my desire is for people to understand their emotional intelligence, their emotional landscape, and how to be self aware, how to recognize when something's coming up, how to communicate that responsibly. You can learn a lot more from my book called The Emotional Intelligence Advantage. Thank you again for listening. Appreciate you. Peace.